have a habit at the moment of filming this car in the rain. Welcome back to my challenge for Dali, and welcome back to a sub 10 degrees Celsius day here in the UK. It's the winter, it's cold, it's wet, but for some reason, I'm taking the Ferrari out. I mean, I say for some reason, I look for any reason, any excuse to take this car out, but I haven't actually done so since we got back from our big OG YouTuber reunion down to Monaco, well, was it a couple of months ago now? I'm not sure. Well, that throwback vibe continues today because Paul texted me saying he'd love to do a video for his channel where we swap cars. Something we actually used to do quite a lot, but we probably haven't done since he owned his LB640 and I still have my 360 Modena, so maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So despite the fact it is miserable out here and probably not the day to drive two lightweight, stripped out, modern classic Italian supercars, it's exactly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be swapping keys, which inherently makes me nervous because you all know I adore this car, I love this car, and I don't know if I trust Paul entirely to drive it in these conditions. I mean, he's trusting me with his car, but I don't think he really likes his car. So he'll be fine, he'll be fine. Maybe I can convince him just to drive it around a car park or something like that. Looks good. Do you have to do that same thing where if you don't turn the engine off when the windscreen wipers are in the perfect place?
Stay there.
How you doing, pal?
I'm good, how are you?
What happened to your finger?
I basically sliced the top of it off with a bread knife.
You know, I think I've only seen your car in these kind of conditions.
Yeah.
I feel like we had like half an hour of sunshine in Monaco and otherwise we were just in the rain the whole time.
Yeah. The only time when we got a break was actually when we were underground cleaning them.
Such a good point. So I'm just capturing the techniques that get you 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Do you know what? It's actually all in the core. This might not look like it, but the stability actually comes from the core. So I'm in the gym 7 days a week, working on my core to just give myself the best type of content on YouTube.
I've always said it's in my thighs. No, I always have a bit of a squat.
For you, it's much more of like the leg work. You're
yes,
like this.
Yes, that's me.
So it's more glutes and hamstrings.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so really, if I want 1 million subscribers, I need to work on my core.
Yeah.
Forget the glutes and hamstrings.
Yeah.
Okay, well, carry on. I will keep watching. But also,
I wear pajamas as well.
Oh my god, there's literally our pajamas. The weather is genuinely getting worse by the minute. It is disgusting and quite sketchy out here. I'm actually a little bit terrified driving this car right now. I have no idea how Paul is going to try and talk about the different driving dynamics of these two cars, driving them in these conditions, but well, he's a pro. Like I said, he's got 1 million subscribers. He knows what he's doing. I'll leave him to it. But once he's finished filming his video, I then want to jump into the Gallardo Superleggero with all of you and find out how he's getting on with that car, because I think it's so good seeing Paul back in a Lamborghini. I feel like he just always needs to own a Lamborghini. I'm just not certain that he thinks that's the Lamborghini he should end up with. He admitted on the drive down to Monaco that he actually wanted a Gen 1 Gallardo Superleggero, but that's of course a Gen 2 car. And I've known him long enough to know that deep down, I do think Paul always wanted to own an Aventador. And those cars are starting to come down in value, and I wonder whether he's been looking, thinking, maybe I change this up. So I hope he loves that thing and it's not just a stepping stone into another Lambo, because I think that car is really cool. And he's done some serious mileage in it now, so yeah. We'll get his filming out of the way and then jump into that car and pick his brains. Oh, it's just the perfect day for a drive.
I know. Got up to that junction, I was like, there's a wake-up call as to why we have to drive relatively sensibly, as there was a smash.
So do you want to explain what we actually witnessed as we were literally about half a mile that way?
A car being recovered, but on a tight country road. And the recovery truck very kindly guided. Did he guide you through?
Yeah, guided us both through, because that looked like a fresh accident.
Yeah.
Like somebody, well, got caught out in a Audi Q5. So wish us luck. Absolutely perfect. Thanks for getting us out, Paul. Good to go for a drive in our Italian thoroughbreds. We didn't crash.
And we did put me in race mode as well.
I did put you in race mode. I don't know who was more nervous, me or you.
We masked it very well.
It's not the first time you've actually driven this car.
No.
Which we didn't speak about. You were my stunt driver for the actual original reveal video of this car when I first bought it.
Yeah.
And you broke it immediately. He put his finger on the start button, and when he lifted his finger off, it came off with him, which made me cry and furious.
Is this a reverse camera?
No. Sorry, reverse camera. There's not sensors at me.
I'm leaving it there.
Yes.
Bloody hell. Nerve-wracking.
Thank you so much.
I am so squashed, by the way. I need to lose some weight.
Well, anyway, thank you so much for not putting us in the hedge. Am I now driving your car?
Yep.
Oh God. What a nervous day it is for all of us. If we crash now, that will be embarrassing because you're driving your own car. Prior to this, we've been driving each other's cars, which always brings an element of doubt into the equation, doesn't it?
Note, when I do start this car, there is a light that continues to stay, the engine light.
That check engine light is just a character?
We haven't checked it yet.
Did we talk about that or just ignore it?
No, it's fine. I don't care. Like every Lamborghini I've had that has had an exhaust, actually every car that I've had that has had an exhaust has had an engine light.
Have you yet found out what that exhaust is?
I think it's tubey.
Okay, but you still don't know?
Not definitively,
There's no signs on it or anything?
No.
It's just loud exhaust?
Yeah, with no valves.
Yeah, I'm aware. Right, let's drive, sir. Why me and Lamborghini people? Oh, this is not the kind of video I need. Oh, please don't kill us. How many miles have you done in this car now since buying it? Let's say
2,000.
Oh, way less than I would have expected. Have you driven it much since you got back?
No.
Ah, okay. That'll be one. Is that because you hate it? Do you know what? No, jokes aside, I'm really worried that we're about to discover that you don't actually like this car that much. I really hope that's not the case. But I'm just picking. I've known you so long.
I know.
That there is something I am smelling in the air that makes me concerned that you're going to be like,
Do you know what it is?
Oh no. Oh no.
No. It's not negative.
Okay.
It's exactly the same as me buying my rear-wheel drive BMW M3 in December last year. 3 months I drove that car and could not get the power down once.
Okay.
So I drove it in comfort the entire time. I have bought this car, drove it straight to Monaco, had a great time in the Alps. I've come back to the UK, which is fundamentally shit, and not driven it.
Yes,
So
okay.
It's a car that how can you not love that?
Yeah, amazing. But you are just feeling a little bit disheartened, or you're frustrated by the lack of use.
I think it requires me to move to somewhere in Côte d'Azur. Where's the visibility gone, by the way?
It's suddenly really foggy, so let's slow down, Paul. We're old now, we don't need to do this kind of stuff. But okay, so I feel like every time you've bought a Lamborghini, except the Bicolore, it hasn't necessarily lived up to, I'm going to clarify that, my expectations for you. Like, I think, like,
not the LP640.
No, but don't forget, I was away for the majority of your ownership of that car. So I never really saw you in it. We never really had a chance to celebrate it together. We went on 1 or 2 drives, but that was barely it. And then you were selling it. But even still, like, given my relationship with 360s, I kind of thought you were going to keep the LP640 for the rest of your life. Like, I thought that was your forever car.
Nah,
but the Huracan,
I've gone up in price quite a lot.
The Huracan went quite quickly. And like now I'm sort of getting the sense that you bought this for the trip and that then therefore next year you kind of might move on. Are you actually a Lamborghini man at all? You're just lying to all of us.
I mean, no. In general, like, I keep my cars around a year. Like, whether I like them or not, I keep them around a year.
Is it at all fair to say that some of the experiences haven't lived up to your expectations? Or do you just think, business-wise, situationally, you've just ended up moving on from the cars? You know, it's not because they've been a disappointment, it's just because you've just moved on.
I think in the time that we've known each other, you get attached to cars.
Yes.
I don't.
Interesting. Okay.
And that is something that I didn't realise until I bought my first supercar, the Audi R8.
Sure.
And I got in it and realised after about a week and a half, I was like,
what next?
okay, cool.
Like, done.
How can I get all of the content out of this car? And that was really a business move to just have content on my driveway, so I didn't have to go to London and car spot and rely on something good happening.
Yeah.
And so since then, I don't know whether that makes me less of a car guy, because I don't think so.
No, that's a ridiculous thing to say. But it definitely doesn't make you any less of a car guy, that is for sure. And I think probably I'm projecting, right? Because for me, yes, I keep hold of my cars, I invest emotionally into them. So I'm like, I want you to have that experience, or I want that for I want to be, oh, there's Paul's Lambo.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's not really how it goes. And whilst I was so pleased when I rocked up at the Eurotunnel for our adventure, and I saw the thing and I was like, yes, because as you say, I was one of the ones championing you to go out and buy another Lamborghini and really pushing you in that direction. I was like, he's done it. I need to let that go, don't I? And just realise that it's a great thing, and it was perfect on our trip, and it's going to be around. But at some point, you will probably move on from
100%,
it. Okay,
100%.
So I shouldn't emotionally invest. What a piece of crap! I'm letting it go. I'll in my therapy session discuss this and find ways to move past it. But just on this car, do you like it?
Yeah, no.
Okay, so
I do. I'm on a day like today, I wouldn't necessarily walk up to like where my keys are hung up and go, I'm going to take the Lambo today. And don't get me wrong, I have found every excuse under the sun since I've had it back on my driveway to drive it.
Okay.
We just haven't had the weather, or I haven't had the journey where I think this is a suitable car to take it.
Yeah, well, I did text you saying, can we meet at whatever time I did, 8 or 9, and you were like, no.
No.
I'm not going in motorway traffic in this car at that time. Let's meet later.
So even going out, we had a date night last Friday. I really wanted to take this car because it's been my wife's dream as much as it has been mine to have a purple Lamborghini.
Sure.
And the restaurant that we were going to has got a wonderful car park, but a massive speed bump getting into it. And I was like, we can't take it.
Yeah,
so it's like, it's so frustrating because it's so impractical, and you do have to look after it, and you do have to just choose the moments that, again, when I do sell the car, I look back on my ownership of it. I go, I drove it on the right days, on the right journeys, and took it to the right places. Okay, so then final question is, do you think you made the right choice with this car? I think so. Okay. I think so, yeah. Because I think the Gen 1 Superleggera is fundamentally across the board shitter than this. yes. And actually the Aventador, I would say across the board, other than the V12, is shitter than the Mark 1 Superleggera. And for all of your frustrations, which is the fact that you don't really like driving that much, it would have been an even worse case scenario like this. Look at us. We can do what you like to do, which is keep the revs low, be buttery smooth, be efficient, until you get to that right moment where you can then extract it. Exactly, Whilst the Aventador doesn't really let you do that. No. I like this a lot. Yeah. I like this a lot. This is... Well, funny you should say that, Sam. It's for sale. It is not. For now. Unless you offer me a silly price. Well, thank you for bringing it out today. I bought my car out for you. We had the mutual agreement that we would bring our stupidest cars out today. Literally that. But it is a mega bit of kit, and I'm glad that you have it, even if it's for a brief period of time. I'm glad to have seen and experienced it. My plan in my head, which might change, at the moment is to run this car all the way through next summer. I really want to enjoy this car. All the way through the year. Because I want to take this to events. I want to get this car out. I knew that was going to happen. Doing a full circle around the roundabout, even though I'm indicating. Yeah, no, he did not like you. Okay, well, before we park back up, could I employ you to do one acceleration? I know it's not in your start on entry, but we are in a purple Lamborghini. So if you, that'd be. Thank you. That's Corsa. Oh, well, it's wonderful. I love this car so much. It's so funny how different Paul and I are when it comes to our cars. You know, he's never been that sort of romantic about the cars that he owns. It's always been the way for our very early collaborations or early road trips.
he's just never really invested in them in the same way that I have. I mean, here I am, essentially having owned some form of Ferrari 360 for 8 or so years. And then, yeah, he's on his 4th Lambo now, and he's probably not going to keep it for all that long, as much as he enjoys it. But, you know, it's just like the... this thing is just not destined for a day like today, but God, is it just amazing. I adore it. If you want to check out him driving this car, me driving his, that'll be on his channel. I don't know if it's already live or it's going to go live at some point, but fun to do another bit of throwback style content of having us together and chatting about cars. I think next year we're going to do more of this kind of stuff in general. That OG road trip down to Monaco was so successful and so much fun, and we all decided we're going to do more of it. But for now, let's quit whilst we're ahead, whilst these cars are still on the tarmac and we can still feel our hands. It is so cold. We're going to have some lunch and then yeah, park these things back up. I'm not sure when you're going to see the CS next. It is unlikely to be before spring next year. I have got winter tyres on order for the GT3 and the Project 8 for some winter adventures, but this thing, I think probably, yeah, it will stand down over the winter and we'll get it back out when the weather improves. So it's goodbye for now from me, or at least for this week, and goodbye for now from the CS.